Hello everyone, welcome to my Alphabet Linux tutorial mousepad guide, where I go through Below's mousepad and I go letter by letter, command by command, and I'm just going to give a little demo of each one and learn with you. For this particular one, we are going to be going through the third one of the list called uh, apropos. So it on the mousepad it says search help manual pages in parentheses man hyphen K, which was interesting to me. Why would it tell you another command within the command? So I did a little bit of research into it. So apropos means search the manual descriptions by keyword. So generally you use this command to search all of your manuals that are installed on your machine. If you don't know that, every command you run, if you type man space the command, it will print out the manuals of that command and how to use it, the flags available, the donations, who's the one that actually keeps it up to date, the open source GitHub repository, where to actually submit bugs if you find them within that utility. It really has everything you can imagine. Uh, this was quite useful back in the day. I used it quite a bit in college when I wasn't able to find a lot of documentation around all the commands I wanted to use. So I was using man pages a lot. Apropos, I actually never heard of it. And after looking into it, it was actually the predecessor of man pages. So man hyphen K, why it's within there, was actually what it became. The man hyphen K really is an alias for apropos, believe it or not. I thought that was pretty interesting. And apropos, I keep saying it wrong, it's actually a French word called apropos or apropos. I'm sorry, I do not speak French, meaning on the subject of or relevant to. Kind of makes sense. So apropos, apropos is an ancient, in the ASIC computer, an ancient command that we are going to go into. So let me open up a terminal like I always do. Move me out of the way. Apropos. Apropos. If you just type it, I thought this was interesting. Apropos what? That is all it tells you, which is also interesting. Just to show you that it actually came from apropos, I'm going to do man. Believe it or not, you can print the manual of the manual tool. Funny. And you look at here where the synopsis shows man hyphen K, an apropos option. That is interesting. So man hyphen K really uses the alias. And also, because we're here, what is also an other ancient utility that was gobbled up by man. Man is man hyphen K is less characters than apropos. And that's generally when aliases or utilities are formed, is keystrokes mattered a lot back in the day, how many keystrokes you could do saves time over time. Apropos, if I can recall how to spell it, just prints apropos what? Apropos help. If you didn't know, you can generally put help for many of these, and it will print out a small version of the utilities you have here, and who to contact if you find bugs. Similar to man apropos. Man apropos actually gives you the entirety in all of the language and usages and exits and bugs, who authored it, the individuals. It gives you everything. That's generally where all of that is in play. These gentlemen created it a long time ago in Unix, and they probably still work on it as this stuff is still relatively new. Computers, relatively new, believe it or not. How far we've come in 30 years. Crazy. So, apropos, what does it actually do? Going back, it says apropos is searches the manual description by keyword. When would you use it? Again, I say searching manual pages. Say you know you want to do something, not what command to use, but understanding or trying to find a word within the manual, and then you're able to look at the manual to then figure out if that's what you want. So for this example, I'm going to use compress. So apropos compress. If I just type apropos compress, it is going to go through the index of all the manual pages. It's going to find any word that has compress in it. But if I just do apropos compress, it is only going to find words that just have compress. It could have compresses, it could have compressed. That is going to hit because it's not exact. If you recall, you can do help apropos. It has an exact flag. I'll show that later. I'm going to show exact. I'm going to show and these other ones, debug, verbose, regex, wildcard. They're a little more complex, but you're not going to use this utility. I'm just giving you a quick demo. If you want me to go into it, you can let me know, but I think they're self-explanatory. So apropos compress. This prints out a lot of libraries, a lot of manuals, and a lot that you probably don't really know. You can see like compression support, BZCat, decompresses, has compress within it. So you get the point. It searches all of these, searches really every single menu you'll have, and if it has the string of compress in any format, it will be printed here. And it's valuable trying to find a particular thing, but it could be more valuable if you actually know what you're trying to find. So say we do apropos compress, apropos compress, right? Exact, like I said I was going to do. If you do apropos compress or compress, there's less choices. And the word actually has to be compress. Interesting. And see how quick that is? It's indexed, it's very fast, it's all local, it searches all the manuals locally. Say you want to find multiple words. Say compress, decompress, encrypt. If I enter apropos, compress, decompress, encrypt, that is going to individually find all three of these words. And by default, compress or decompress or encrypt. So they're gonna handle them individually. That's probably not what you want, but that is what you can do. It's defaulted to or. And so there's a lot of stuff that comes in here. A lot of stuff. And when you're trying to search something, you want to narrow it down. So I don't recommend that. So if you can add an A in here, which changes that or to an and. So compress and decompress and encrypt. So in order to show up as a result, it has to have all three of those words in it. There is none. It's a bad example. So compress and decompress. Obviously, there's a lot. How about exact? Yeah, exact. So let's see what we have some there. So yeah, you can also add multiple. You saw how here I only had an A, compress and decompress. So we have decompress here. Compress is within decompress, believe it or not. So that actually matched because again, we didn't put the exact flag. If you type just A, compress and decompress itself has compress within it. Therefore, it's going to match anytime there's decompress, which is why we have all this. And down here in this example, apropos EA means exact and, therefore compress and decompress. So in here, they had to match exact, and that's why we get out a smaller one of these. So we have compress, decompress, compress, decompress. Every single one of these has compress and decompress in it. But again, this just tells you where the manual is, right? So you still want to read it, potentially. I mean, that was the original intent of this. You want to find the manual to read it in a fuller extent than just finding the key word. So, say you want to read XZ. That's an interesting one. Man XZ. Now we have man XZ. It XZ compress, decompress. What is it? Description: XS is a general purpose data compression tool with command line syntax similar to gzip. So it's a gzip similar command line. There's a lot of utilities out there that we don't use and probably will never use, but they're there and they're shipped generally because they're used under the hood. They're lighter weight, they're more secure, they're really used by the operating system. Last apropos command I'll have, and then I'm going to get into the manuals because I find that kind of fascinating. Because we talk about all these indexing of where the manuals are, you're indexing them. Where do they live? What are the manuals? They're shipped every time. Are they organized? I had those questions and I found an answer. I thought it was fascinating, so I am going to share that as well. Manuals. We showed man, CD. You can have the man pages of CD. Change working directory. How to use it? UCD, the directory name. What does it do? All this. It is the manual for that command, CD. Where are these manuals stored? Built in, you can use man path, believe it or not. Man path shows you the paths of all manuals that it references. There's a lot. You can see it's delimited by this colon here, but the place that they're generally all in is user share man. We do user share man and go there and list it. What's in there? A bunch of different languages and directories of the manuals, believe it or not, because based off your system preferences, you're going to have different manuals and it's going to display in the terminal in a different language. There's a lot of different languages. Here, man 1, man 2, all the way through 8 and N is generally where all of the manuals are. They are differentiated. We can see which each one of these is different. Each one of these is organized in a particular way, described what each one does. Man 1 is generally the user commands, the CLI tools. Uh, Man 2 is system calls, kernel functions. 3 is C functions, memory allocation. Man 4 is the device files, special files, the TTY dev nulls. Man 5, file formats, configs, using passwd, cron tab. Man 6 is games and fun fortune screensavers. That's an interesting one. Man 7, concepts and overviews and standards. ASCII, signal, hair, regex. Man 8, system admin command. So every time you try to run a command and it says, hey, enter your admin password, they're coming from man 8 manual. If you want to look at the manual for the administrative commands. Man N, this is an interesting one as well. I guess it's explicitly for a TCL scripting language. Never heard of it. Don't know why they get their own manuals, but they do. Strings puts after. I guess there's a lot of commands within the scripting language itself. And from my understanding, that TCL scripting language is dead because of Python. Again, a lot of the stuff is bloated and honestly probably needs to be cleaned up. There's a lot of things in here that probably could get dependency injected, and when you update your computer, you update a TCL script that you never use, and it could potentially be a security risk. Do we want to clean it up? We probably should, but it's so lightweight and it's so old that we just don't touch it. That's something that needs to be cleaned up. So I'll show you. It's man 1. Let's do, what was the fun one? Man 6, games and fun stuff. Man 6. What's in here? Steam. That is my only one. So I have Steam installed on my large Linux. Omarchi, by the way. And I play games. You can play games on Linux. So Steam. This is a GZ file. GZ is a gzip file. It's a compressed file. Obviously, these are manuals. You don't want to store the full plain text in here. It takes up memory. Memory used to be a scarce commodity. Now it's widely used and widely accessible. You can buy freaking terabytes for 20 bucks. Micro SD, I just bought one, a 5 pack, 128 gigs, 20 bucks. It's a lot of memory. Back then, that would cost you two houses. GZ is a gzip compressed file. One way to actually read one of these is zcat, which is just printing out the gzip file in a legible thing. So if you just printed cat steam out, I'm pretty sure it's just going to be encoded. You can't read that. It's encoded. It's compressed and encoded. You obviously can't read that. Computer can't display that. zcat makes it legible. So here we have Steam Launcher for Steam Client from Valve. The Steam Launcher script is written and maintained by Valve Corporation. And if I do Steam, that's a nice one. See, it's exactly the same. .sh author, .sh options. It is coming from this particular .gz file. So that is where manuals are stored. That is where apropos comes into play, which is the predecessor of man-k. I'll admit I rarely use it. I just go to an LM and ask it a question. How do I use this command to accomplish this task? And LMs are phenomenal at giving you the proper commands. But 5 years ago, hell, not even 2 years ago, did you really want to open up a browser and search, hey, how do I use rename command? Like, what's the actual thing? No, you don't want to do that. You're already in a terminal. You're right there. You want to rename the file. You could just do rename help or man rename, and you can generally figure it out by reading. You can learn a lot by reading and reading the manuals. That is it for this video. Apropos, the French word, predecessor of man-k. If you liked it, you liked it. Bye.